Hi, welcome to my garden. I'm going to show you how to plant a fall garden right now, okay? So, it's now in the middle of August and I'm already preparing for the fall, okay? Because it's right around the corner. You have September and October. I live here in the Mountain West in Utah, and so it gets plenty cold here. It snows here. So, but I can still have vegetables until probably about beginning of November or mid-November. So um, here I'll come show you. The way I like to plant my fall greens is I like to really do wide rows and broadcast the seed. You'll see right here we have arugula, and this is kale, and over here that's bok choy. It's baby bok choy. I need to thin that out. It's too close together. Um, then I just planted some lettuce right here. It hasn't germinated yet. I just planted it yesterday. It'll probably take a week to 10 days to germinate. And then I have right here two different types of lettuces. Then over here I have some spinach, and you can see some of the spinach is popping up already, and we have some purslane weeds coming up. If you don't know that this purslane, you'll see this everywhere. Purslane is actually a weed, and it is edible. And it actually has omega-3 fatty acids, surprisingly. And you can throw that into a salad if you want. It's kind of has a crunchy texture. Actually, it has kind of a citrusy texture too. I really like it. Doesn't taste bad. Hey, and if nature gives you weeds, and if they're edible, why not eat them, right? So we have some spinach popping up. Usually spinach takes about 14 days to germinate, but if you water it and if it's plenty warm, they'll pop up within a week. So this, and if the seed is new, if it's not old seed, then it'll just pop right up real quick. The lettuce seed takes about, let's see here, it really depends. It takes about a week or so to germinate. The important thing about germinating lettuce seed and spinach and arugula and kale is to keep it moist until it germinates. Okay, I I like to take a handful of seed and I broadcast it, so that we have probably, I don't know, 4 seeds per square inch. Not all of the seeds will germinate, but then it'll turn out like this. And it kind of looks kind of sparse, but in about 2 weeks, all that will start growing into each other, and it'll be very nice. And eventually, you won't even have to pick weeds because the lettuce will just block out all of the sunlight, and it'll grow up, and you don't have to weed as much, which is, I hate weeding, right? So, yeah, we have here is bok choy. I save my bok choy from year to year, so I have a ton of bok choy seed. And so what I do is I plant a ton of it, and then I go through, and once it gets too thick, I just go through and I start thinning out. Just go like that, just thin out. I know for some people thinning is hard because you're killing a perfectly good plant. But if they're too close to each other, then you won't get a good fruit. So I just go in and then just thin it out like that, and just pull it out, and eventually you'll have it so that your bok choy is, several inches, maybe you'll have it like 2 inches apart from each other. So another thing which I like is I like to have this drip tape. This drip tape is pretty amazing because I have it on a timer. I don't even have to think about it. I'm doing other things during the day. I don't even have to think about, coming out and watering it and keeping it moist. And sometimes what I'll do is when you'll see that right here, it hasn't watered right here, and I'll just move it over or something. Or what I'll do is I'll just water with the hose and get this moist, and then after it's all the way moist, then I'll let the drip tape do its job. Okay. So this will probably, all this stuff will be starting, it'll be ready in about 3 weeks. So I would say mid-September. And then I can harvest this from September until probably beginning of November, depending on how many hard freezes we get. Okay, this right here is red Russian kale. This is one of my favorite kales. When it grows, it will be flat. It's not frilly, and it's not tough. It's really tender, and it has a great flavor to it. So I really recommend this variety of kale. It's great in salads. When it gets a little bit bigger, then I will saute it. I'll put it into some dishes and cook it down like I cook down spinach. It's either way. It's delicious when it's small, when it's fresh, and it's in a salad, or when it gets really big, then you can cook it down. So yeah, there you go. There's some red Russian kale. Here we have some arugula. As you can see, it's really planted close together, and so there is an art and a science to planting arugula. You don't want it too close together. You don't want too many seeds in there, but you don't want it to be too far away. If you just get it just right, then it will really grow up, and it'll block all of the weeds out. And it'll also act as a mulch, and it'll keep the moisture in the soil. Actually, arugula is one of the easiest things to grow. It germinates seriously like in 2 days. If you keep it watered for 2 days, arugula will just pop up. It'll be the first thing you'll see germinating. I love arugula. That it has a great flavor to it, and it's actually frost hardy. And actually, the taste of the arugula is enhanced by the cold weather, and so it's a perfect fall crop. Here we have some baby bok choy. This one is a little leggy, just because I kind of have it in some shade. But it's growing up, and it'll create. It'll be just fine for me. I don't let it get too big anyway. And actually, I've had very little luck growing bok choy where I live because it just gets too hot. But in the fall, that's kind of a more ideal time for me to plant bok choy. I've had the most success with planting bok choy in the fall, because in the spring, if I plant it, it just bolts, it goes to seed really quick. Here we have some leaf lettuce, and this leaf lettuce, it's kind of far apart from each other right now, maybe a few inches apart in some spots. But then once it grows, it'll all fill in, and it'll block all the weeds out. And then when it gets to about 4 or 5 inches tall, then I'll take my scissors, and then I'll cut it down and I'll leave about an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches to the bottom of the stem, and then I'll use the rest. And then what will happen is that lettuce will just grow back. And you can do that 3 or 4 times usually. Okay, here's some spinach. Spinach usually takes around 14 days to germinate. Um, I don't plant spinach so close together like I do the arugula or the lettuce. They don't like to be crowded that much. But I do it in a wide row, and I broadcast the seed. And if I have clumps that are too close together, I'll just thin it out. And then once that plant grows, it'll within 7 inches for around the the circumference of the plant, it grows up and you have a big spinach plant. And spinach is typically frost hardy, and it'll survive probably for me until about November. And I'm in a cold climate with snow and hard freezes. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And comment below if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer them. Have a great day. Happy gardening.